Hi, welcome to the channel. I'm Jess. I'm specialized in statistical modeling, ecological informatics, and spatial analysis. One thing I've noticed is that sometimes, or actually often, ensemble models are chosen as the quote-unquote correct or the safe choice by default. I've seen cases where individual models actually outperformed ensembles, where the individual algorithms worked best for different species. However, in the end, the ensembles were still chosen as the final approach. So I think that is something, it reveals something interesting about modeling decisions and how we think about models in science. Because sometimes averaging models averages away ecological meaning. Before we go any further, I just want to clarify. I'm not saying ensembles are bad. They can be very helpful and useful. They can actually reduce model uncertainties, they improve the model robustness, and they reduce our dependence on any single algorithm. And there's many more advantages to ensembles, and I think that's why they're popular. What I'm talking about here is that there's a subtle assumption sometimes gets slipped in, that somehow the averaged models or averaging framework gets us closer to the truth. I'm not really sure if that's always the case, especially in ecology, because ecological systems or species are not really uniform systems. Different species respond to environments differently. Some of these relationships are threshold based, some of the relationships are nonlinear, some of them are strongly influenced by spatial structures or rare events. So if different algorithms capture different ecological structures differently for different species, then forcing everything into an averaged framework might actually flatten that biological meaningful variation. So in other words, when the ensembles might be statistically stable while becoming less ecologically specific. And this points to a bigger modeling philosophy. As you know, I like talking about modeling philosophies. So here I think it's modeling often is really deciding which or what kind of uncertainty matters the most for us. So if we are worried about statistical instability or algorithm instability, then ensemble makes sense. But if our goal is to identify the to understand the species specific response to the environment, or to identify which structures best represent different ecological processes, then averaging or ensemble might not be the best choice, because averaging doesn't just reduce noise, it also reduces signals. This leads to a distinction I personally think we should talk about more often, which is averaging for truth versus averaging for stability. These two are not always necessarily the same. So ensembles can produce stable predictions, but stable predictions might not automatically mean biologically or ecologically meaningful predictions. So we sometimes we tend to choose a methodological consensus because maybe it feels safer and easier to defend. But biological systems themselves are very messy and species specific. So maybe the goal shouldn't be trying to find one modeling framework that works for everything. Maybe we should accept that different species and different systems require different representations of reality. Because I think personally, at the end of the day, modeling really isn't about choosing sophisticated methods. It is about deciding which simplifications we're willing to make, because every model compresses reality. So when we are building ensemble models, what exactly are we averaging? The uncertainty or noise or the ecology itself?